It's my pleasure to see you again in our e-learning class of syntax. In our previous discussion, we understand that syntax deals with how phrases, clauses, and sentences are grammatically constructed. In this occasion, we will focus on phrases, the types of phrases, and how each of them is grammatically constructed. Now, what is phrase? Phrase is a group of words as a unit. And phrase itself is based on lexical category or word class. This is why we recognize 5 types of phrases: noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, verb phrase, and prepositional phrase. Now let us try to examine how each of them is constructed. Now, first, noun phrase. What is noun phrase? Noun phrase is a group of words of which head is noun. Say, for instance, smart woman. Smart woman is a noun phrase because its head is woman that function as noun. Yes? Smart woman, once again, is a noun phrase. Smart is called modifier. And then it can be extended. The grammar can be extended by using determiner. A smart woman. A is determiner. And of course, this structure can be extended by using qualifier. Say, a smart woman from America. From America is a qualifier. So the structure of a smart woman from America is determiner, modifier, head, and qualifier. And you can abbreviate it. This determiner stands for D, modifier stands for M, head stands for H, qualifier stands for Q. So the structure is DMHQ. Now let's see what makes up modifier. Modifier can be made up by adjective, past participle, verb with ing ending, and noun. Let us examine each of these. Adjective, smart woman, new car, tall building. Alright? With verb ing, reading book, waiting room. With passive or past participle, accepted proposal, unwanted pregnancy. With noun, lady doctor, boy baby. So, these 4 types of words can function as modifier or M. How about determiner? Determiner can be actualized by article, demonstrative, number, and etc. Let us use article. The girl, a pen, an egg. Let us use demonstrative. That horse, those books, these problems. Yes, and then number. Some students, a few strangers, a lot of money, and so on. Now possessive. My car, his book, their apartments, and so on. Right? So these are the words that build up determiner. Now let us see, despite the fact that a phrase is smaller or is a smaller unit in comparison with, yes, clause or sentence, a smaller unit of language in comparison with the unit of clause and sentence. Phrase can contain a structure of clause. Like in example, a smart woman from America who graduated from Harvard University in 1985. Yes, who graduated from Harvard University in 1985 is a clause, right? That is contained by a phrase, a girl from America. Now take a look. This phrase is made up by a long sequence of words. Yes? A smart woman from America who graduated from Harvard University in 1985 is a long sequence of words, but it is not a sentence. It is not either a clause. Why? Because it does not have subject and verb or predicate or SV. So it is a phrase. It is not a sentence. It's very important for you to understand this. Whenever a sequence of words abides by the rule of sentence or clause, S and V, minimum requirement for sentence or clause, then we call this sequence a sentence or a clause. The second one is adjective phrase. What is adjective phrase? Adjective phrase is a phrase or a group of words of which head is adjective. Say, difficult. Difficult is the head as an adjective, and it can be described by modifier extremely difficult. The structure of extremely difficult is HM or head modifier, and it can be extended by using qualifier. Say, extremely difficult to translate. To translate is a qualifier. So the structure of extremely difficult to translate is MHQ. Modifier, head, qualifier. So hard to solve. Too complex to solve. Too complex to be solved. These are more examples of adjective phrase. Another example of this, say for example, as big as, much bigger than, or bigger than. The head of these three phrases is the same, big. So we can call them adjective phrase. Another one is adverb phrase. Adverb phrase is a phrase of which head is adverb. Say carefully. Carefully is head. Yes? And then, of course, you can extend by using a modifier very carefully. Head modifier, and you can add a qualifier. Very carefully indeed. Very carefully indeed. Yes, its structure is MHQ. Q. Yes. Very fast enough. So slowly indeed. And so on. This is the structure of adverb phrase. Now, verb phrase. What is verb phrase? Verb phrase is a phrase of which head is verb. However, when identifying the structure of verb phrase, we don't use the previous terms like M, H, S, and Q. You just use V to substitute H. V stands for verb. And then O, operator. Say, will come. Will come is a verb phrase. Its structure is operator, verb, or it can be abbreviated with OV. Why will is called operator? Because will bears syntactic burden of a sentence where the auxiliary will is distributed. Whenever you change the position of will in I will come, it becomes will I come. So will bears the burden of syntax because it changes, yes, the type of sentence from positive sentence I will come into interrogative. Will I come? Similarly, whenever you want to negate the sentence to form a negative sentence, you put not after will not. So, I will not come. Yes. Now the type of sentence is changed already. It now becomes a negative sentence. This is why we say that O, yes, operator bears syntactic burden. Now the structure of OV can be extended, yes, by saying, for example, will be coming. Will be coming is OXV. OXV. B is X, symbolized with X. It can be extended by making the next formula OXXV. For example, will have been coming, must have been found out. Okay. Now, even though the head of these phrases is verb, we normally call this as V, and another one X and O. So can be OV, OXV, and OXXV. Yes, this is verbal phrase structure. And the last one, this is a prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase is a phrase or a group of words of which head is preposition, and its structure is a bit different from the previous ones, even though we have H or head. Say across. Yes, this is head. And then across the road. The road is called completive, or it is abbreviated with C. So across the bridge is head completive. It can be extended by using modifier. For instance, right across the bridge. Yes, right is modifier. So right across the bridge has a structure of MHC. Modifier head completive. Another example of verb phrase, right on the table, just in front of my house, and so on. Now, let us try to go further. There are two types of phrases, namely endocentric phrase and exocentric phrase. Endocentric phrase is a phrase of which head can represent the whole phrase where the head is distributed, while exocentric phrase is a phrase of which head cannot represent the whole phrase where the head is distributed. Endocentric phrases are noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and verb phrase. While exocentric phrase is prepositional phrase. Now, what is the reason? What is the evidence? As I said, that endocentric phrase is a phrase that can be represented by its head. Say, for example, a smart woman from America. Smart can represent a smart woman from America as a whole. Right? So, even though you eliminate a smart from an America and you leave the head woman, then the meaning remains the same. So, the smart woman from America is actually the same as woman. In terms of personal pronoun, woman is she, and a smart woman from America is also she. Okay? So this is why we say that noun phrase is endocentric phrase. Imagine if you try to extend the phrase, a smart woman from America who graduated from Harvard University in 1985 can be represented by woman, no matter it's long enough, but it's just the same as woman. How about adjective phrase? Adjective phrase, of course, can be endocentric because the head adjective can represent the whole phrase where it is distributed. For example, extremely difficult to understand can be represented by difficult as a head. So you can eliminate extremely and to translate. And the meaning of extremely difficult to translate is the same as the meaning of difficult. This is the reason why it is endocentric. How about adverb phrase? Yes, it is also endocentric because its head adverb, like in very carefully, indeed, can be represented by carefully. You can eliminate very and indeed. Very carefully indeed is the same as carefully. This is the reason why it is called as endocentric phrase. And then, how about verb? Verb phrase. Verb phrase is also endocentric because its head, in this case V, can represent the whole phrase where it is distributed. Say, for example, will be coming. Will be coming can be represented by coming. So, you can eliminate will and be. Will have been understood. Will have been concluded. Yes, the first phrase can be represented by understood, and the second one can be represented by concluded. So, All four of phrases that I have stated previously are endocentric phrase, while prepositional phrase is not endocentric, rather exocentric phrase, because its head cannot represent the whole phrase when it is distributed. Say, right across the building, right across the road. Right across the road cannot be represented by the preposition across. If you say across, your listener will say across what? Okay? Across what? So, this is why it has to be provided with completive, across the road. And then it can be described with modifier right across the road. So in order for across to be meaningful completely or fully, it should be integrated with completive, the road, across the road. Then it is understood completely. Another example, in front of my house. In front of my house cannot be represented by in front. If you say in front of what? It should be followed by C or completive, in front of my house. So all of these words should work together to result in unified meaning. They have to be integrated. So far, I think we will put an end to our lecture. Just before I close this lecture, I just want to sum up what I have said so far. There are 5 types of phrases, namely noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, verb phrase, and prepositional phrase. The first 4 phrases, noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and verb phrase, are endocentric phrase. And prepositional phrase that we call exocentric. So, endocentric and exocentric. Exocentric is prepositional phrase. That's all for today. I thank you for your attention and your great enthusiasm. See you again in the upcoming e-learning class. Goodbye.